Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Anya and today I'm going to be sharing with you the 1 month update for my baby Abigail. So in this update, I'm actually going to be covering three basic things: eating, sleeping, and the baby's development. And then at the very end, I'll be sharing with you my postpartum update. So this is actually the type of process that I will follow through all of my updates, where I will give you an update on all of these same different things, just so that I could see a track record of where all of these different areas have gone throughout the first year of Abigail's life. So let's get started. In terms of eating, she is doing so great. She's exclusively breastfed, has been from the very beginning, and now that we're a month in, I feel like we've established a really solid flow. I was gonna say routine, but who am I kidding? This is a 1-month-old baby. There is no routine, but definitely a very solid flow. So during the daytime, which are 12-hour stretch, I would say from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening, I feed her anywhere from around 1 to 3 hours. Every single time she is hungry and wants to feed, even if it doesn't fall within that time frame, I feed her. So it's definitely 100% on demand right now that we are 1 month in. During the evenings, however, because she's doing so well in her growth, and I will be sharing, more details on that in terms of numbers on the development side, but because she is doing so well in her growth, the doctor did say it was okay to let her sleep longer stretches during the evening. So as long as she doesn't wake up, I don't actually have to wake her up to feed her during the evenings. This is actually different than my last update, because I remember mentioning that at the very beginning the doctor said not to let her go more than a 4-hour stretch in the evening. Well, when I went back to the doctor probably about a week and a half after birth, just to give a weight check, just to have a weight check on her, she had already gained all of her weight that she had lost. So she was born at 7 pounds and she was now weighing 7 pounds 6 ounces and a half. She said she's gaining weight tremendously well. The doctor said she's gaining weight tremendously well, and you do not have to wake her up throughout the night. So let her sleep for as long as she wants to, and when she gets up on her own, you go ahead and feed her at that time. And that's what I've been doing throughout the rest of the month. So maybe around 2 weeks and a half now, I've been just letting her sleep through the night and then feeding her on demand during the day. And of course, on demand during the night at night, but not waking her up. If she does not wake up from, sleep time during the day, I do wake her up. I make sure that she does not go any longer than 3 hours. Generally, I will go almost 2.5. If I am doing something and I'm in the middle of it and I just want to give myself a little bit more slack, I will wait the 3-hour mark. But generally, I won't let it go above the 2.5-hour mark. That has worked out great for us. Now in the evenings, and this is actually a great transition into sleep. So in the evenings, I put her down, and I would say the first stretch that she sleeps is about 5 hours, sometimes even 6. And we did have one day where she slept 8 hours straight. That was only one day though. When she wakes up from that first long stretch, so she will wake up anywhere from like 11 o'clock to about 3, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. Then she will go down and she will then wake up every 3 hours after that. So it will only be one large stretch and then a couple of smaller stretches during the night. And that's become very predictable, but the first long stretch is what is not predictable at all. She could go 4 hours, she could go 6 hours, she could maybe even go 8 hours on that one very heavenly night. But the stretches after that, of course, are predictably smaller than that. Now, because I want to establish a good nighttime routine, I have implemented the same nighttime routine that I have for Sebastian with her, even though she's so little. And of course we cannot, you know, expect that she is going to sleep from 8 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock in the morning like Sebastian does. We still go ahead and give them baths at the same time. So I will go ahead and take care of Abigail's bath time, and at the same time Santiago is taking care of Sebastian's bath time, and then we get all, you know, all of our little ducks in a row by around, I would say, 7:15. We're good to go. I go into the room, I swaddle her, and then I sit down with her to breastfeed her. I go, you know, during the evenings, it's typically somewhere between 20 to 30, maybe even 35, 40 minutes on the breast. And when she is sound asleep, I go ahead and put her on her bassinet, all swaddled and ready to go for that long stretch throughout the night. And she's been giving us really, really good nights overall. There have been a couple of nights where she does wake up here and there, but overall it's just been really good so far. When she does wake up, it's usually, you know, just change her diaper, put her on the breast, put her back on the bassinet. And in the event that she does not stay in the bassinet, I've been so blessed that Santiago can work his magic, because he gets up and he, you know, kind of cuddles her and swings her around a little bit and comforts her and puts her back on the bassinet, and she is happy, super happy, and continues to stay asleep through the rest of the evening. So that has worked out very, very, very well. When she wakes up in the morning, it's like she's ready to go. She wakes up and she doesn't want to be in the room anymore in the darkness. I feel like she just wants to be in the sunlight. She wants to, you know, be somewhere where there's action. And we've, you know, stayed with that type of routine during the day. So during the day, from 8 o'clock in the morning till bath time at 7 o'clock, she's seeing light, she's hearing sounds, she's, you know, doing all of the things during the day that indicate that it's daytime, so that when the evening comes, her body knows, her subconscious, I guess, to a certain extent, has already developed the knowledge that yes, there is evening and there is daytime, and in the evening we sleep, and in the daytime we play and do noise, and there's light and all of that other stuff. So that has worked out very, very well. So during the daytime, we've most recently started implementing one nap a day that is predictable. So during the nap time that Sebastian has, which is at noon, he typically goes down from 12:30 to about 3 p.m. I usually go ahead and put her down as well in her bassinet. I swaddle her, I breastfeed her. Actually, I change her diaper, I swaddle her, I breastfeed her, and I put her down on her bassinet. And typically she stays down till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon as well. If she is sleeping a little bit longer than that, I typically just let her do her thing. But I don't let her sleep any longer than about 3:30, maybe 3:45 if she is having that long sleep stretch. Now, it's been working out great for us, because then we could actually count on that solid 2 hours and a half to have, you know, lunch and like recharge for the rest of the evening time with them, both of them. But I think, of course, that will change as soon as she's a little bit older and finds her own groove and what nap time schedule really works for her in particular. We did follow the lead with Sebastian on his napping schedule, and just, you know, followed his cues as to what worked out best for him, which is what I'm anticipating will happen with her. And I don't, you know, I can't count on that being like the same for both of them. So let's see what happens. But for now, she's going down for a nap, a solid nap, every day at the same time that he is. And then throughout the rest of the day, she's just napping here and there in the swing, or in my arms, or in Santiago's arms, or, you know, when on top of us somewhere. But that one nap a day that happens when Sebastian is napping, that one is very well structured, you know, diaper, feeding, bassinet, swaddling, like the whole nine. That's actually the time that I'm using right now to record this video, the nap time schedule, because it is completely impossible to go ahead and record these videos while they're around. I mean, she has really become more aware of her surroundings these past few days, and having her here with me, like just sleeping in my arms or even breastfeeding while I'm recording this video, would be completely chaos. So I'm going to be inserting some pictures so that you see. My husband's walking outside and distracted me. But I'm gonna be inserting some pictures so that you could see how big she is right now, which is a good transition now into growth and development. She is such a big girl right now. So we went to the doctor's visit for the 1 month mark. She already got her hepatitis B shot at birth, and also now that she is 1 month old. Nothing crazy happened with that. She didn't have any adverse reactions. She's doing great with all of that stuff. She just cried a little bit. I mean, she got shot in the leg, but she's doing great as far as all of that is concerned. But let's talk about her weight. This is definitely something that I carry around like a badge of honor, because we had such a hard time with Sebastian when he was little, that it's just so comforting to see that things are going so well with her development overall in that aspect. So at birth, as I've already mentioned, she was 7 pounds. When we got out of the hospital, she was 6 pounds 8 ounces. Went to the first doctor's visit, 6 pounds 11 ounces and a half. Went to a weight check visit, and she was already at 7 pounds 6 ounces. Doctor said she's doing great, development is perfect, she can sleep through the night, right? Well, we scheduled an appointment for the 1 month visit, and I was thinking, well, maybe she's around 8 pounds and a half now. She's gained a pound. My goodness. So we went to the doctor, and she is now weighing 9 pounds and 5 ounces, 5.5 ounces actually. So almost 6 ounces. 9 pounds 5.5 ounces. I was so happy to hear that, and the doctor was like, wait, what are you feeding her? And so I told her, you know, she's exclusively breastfed. I am producing milk very, very well. I am also kind of stashing some in the freezer, and I have a really good bank now of milk that I feel very, very comfortable with, because, you know, I do work full-time as well, and so when I go back to work, there are going to be times where I'm going to be traveling, and my husband is going to have to feed her a bottle. And so I've got a good stash built up right now that is really good. And then my husband is coming back, so she's gaining weight like a champ. I have my freezer stash completely stocked up, and we're doing really well. She didn't actually get measured in length or her head circumference at the 1 month visit, but everything seems to be going well on that aspect as well. She did jump from like a 16 percentile in terms of weight to like a 40-something percentile in weight as well. So Sebastian, and both Sebastian and her, I would say, are on the lower half in terms of weight and the upper half in terms of length. They are very long and lean kids for sure. But she's definitely gaining weight at a much rapid rate than he ever did, and he did perfectly fine as well. It's just that she is doing so well that it's kind of like, oh my goodness, like this is awesome. So let's talk a little bit about my postpartum update. There's been a couple of things. So I did mention a little bit about the bleeding during my last update, and I do want to say that I didn't just stop wearing pads because I had slowed down in the bleeding, and I am so glad that I didn't, because there were a few times, and I would say maybe around 3 times, where I did bleed like I had just started my period. Like that first day of your period where like it's all of a sudden like gates open like that. And so while the bleeding did slow down a lot after that 1 week mark, it did definitely come back, and it came back strong a few times there. And then I've been just kind of sporadically spotting throughout the rest of the time. I'm still wearing like panty liners just to make sure that I'm well protected in that sense, but I am not like heavily bleeding at this point anymore. So that has gone down, and that's been really good. My pain in my abdomen, or like actually the uterus, like the contractions that I was feeling at the very beginning when I was feeding Abigail, have gone down like to non-existence anymore. Like I don't feel that anymore, but I do feel like my pouch a little bit squishy. And as far as I know, of course, that is going to take time to kind of shrink back up. The uterus went from the size of, I do believe, a fist to all the way the size of a watermelon. So it is going to take a little bit of time to shrink back down to its normal state. However, it's kind of like a little bit like, come on, like, let's get this party started, like, let's get it going, because I do still kind of look a little bit pregnant, even though there's no baby in there. So it's kind of weird when, you know, you put something on and it doesn't fit properly, because you're like, where the heck is my body? You know, like, why are things so jiggly? And yes, I do know that I grew 2 full-blown people inside my body, and that's definitely something to be proud of, and I am. But at the same time, I want to put on something and feel great, you know? So that's kind of where I am with that. The other thing that has been really a drag is that I started having really bad pain in my back, and it happened like down my spine towards the bottom on the left hand side. I attributed it to really bad posture while breastfeeding, because I was breastfeeding on the edge of my bed right next to the bassinet in the middle of the night, just so that I could have easier access to just put her down immediately after I was done. And it didn't work out for me. Like, it was so bad that I actually had to go into the doctor and get seen. She did a bunch of tests, and when I say tests, I mean had me do a whole bunch of different positions and move my legs in different ways, and my abdomen and the core, my head, all of these different things. She touched the area, she like listened to it for any sound or any heat or any discoloring or anything like that, and she said everything seemed to be fine, that it was a muscular thing. So I am working on that now. Over the last, like, I don't know, maybe 12 hours, I've kind of started to feel like my spine is no longer the issue, but it's my hip, and it's actually on my left hip. Regardless, the whole thing has rendered me unable to walk properly for this past month. I've been walking around like an old lady, like literally like a 95-year-old lady, and it's so painful. I can't really go up and down the stairs properly. Remember how I was like really happy about being able to reach my feet after I had delivered the baby and I didn't have a big old belly anymore? Well, reaching my feet in the bathroom when I'm taking a shower is so painful, I cannot even describe. And of course, I still have to be carrying around both my babies. I can't just say like, oh no, I can't breastfeed you, I can't carry you because my back hurts. Like, the show must go on. And so that has been very unfortunate. The doctor did say that the only thing I could take right now is ibuprofen. That is good for the pain, and it's also good for inflammation, so I am going with that and hoping that things progress nicely and that I don't have to take any other measures to get rid of this pain. I was worried because I did get an epidural, and I do know that one of the side effects of that could be to experience some really bad back pain. So I'm hoping that it's not related to that, but only time will tell, and we'll see what happens. In terms of my mood, I do have to say that things have kind of leveled out over the rest of this month. So I looking back at my first update, I remember being so extremely excited about having my baby. I was just on this absolute high, and I think that God makes it that way so that you are able to survive those first 2 weeks of your baby's life, because it's so hard to be able to manage everything that is going on those first 2 weeks. Number one, this brand new person, and number two, all of the changes that as a woman you're experiencing internally. And this is physically, internally, you know, psychologically, emotionally. It's just an all-around like 360 type of shifting that goes on in your whole entire life, from 1 minute to the next, from that second that you're, you know, with child in your belly, and the next second that she's in your arms. So I do believe that that's God's way of giving you a break and, you know, offering you the opportunity to just be on this, you know, extreme high that nothing matters. You're just like, I'm just happy. I'm just happy. Everything's great. Everything's awesome and amazing. And everything's just wonderful. When things mellow down though, when there continues to not be enough sleep, when there continues to be a lot of hunger because you can only feed yourself, you know, a number of things with one arm, you know, the reality kind of starts sinking in. And that's kind of where I've shifted to over the last half of this month, but still very, very excited about having my baby, about everybody being super healthy, about, you know, just being with her, smelling her, feeling her, touching her. I miss her when she's not around me. You know, one time I went to go pick up Sebastian, and it was so crazy because I was telling my husband, if it weren't for the fact that I knew I was on my way to pick up my other child, the one whom I love so much, I would have just turned around and come back home because I did not want to be away from her. It was the most like deep feeling of missing somebody and just wanting to be right next to them all the time. And I knew it was only temporary. I was literally only going to be away from her for like 20 minutes max, and I still experienced that feeling of like, oh my god, I need to be back with her like right now. And so it's just been a complete and total roller coaster. I mean, if you could call it anything, I would definitely say in every single aspect of life, right? Like emotionally, physically, in every single aspect, it's just been a total game changer and a total roller coaster overall. So that's kind of where my postpartum state is at right now. I am continuing to try to be the best mom for both of my kids. So like being sure to stay present for Sebastian. I've made sure to carve out some time to be there with him, to continue to feed him and play with him a little bit, even if I cannot most of the day because I am holding and breastfeeding and tending to Abigail. I do know that this is temporary. This is a temporary season. She's little. She is going to need me the most right now, but I am definitely acutely aware that this is also a time where Sebastian needs me as well. So I am trying to make sure that I am providing for him that mom presence as well. So juggling all of those things at nighttime, it really does become very, very difficult to do anything else but just be so exhausted that I just want to go to sleep. And so I've been trying to juggle, you know, my desires, right? Like my other things that I need to take care of, because I do have other things going on that are not just babies. And even though right now I am on maternity leave, you know, it's not just baby time right now for me. There's a bunch of different other things, including work, school, and my marriage. So I do want to make sure that I'm giving time to all of those things. But at this time, it is so difficult to juggle all of that during the day and be able to land at a good space at nighttime to dedicate to all of these other things going on in my life. So definitely a work in progress, trying to offer myself the grace that I need to move forward and not drive myself crazy over these other different things. But it's really been a struggle, and you know, fighting for the right to actually be a mom on maternity leave, from school and from all of the different places that are pulling you in a million different directions, is difficult. It's difficult because sometimes when you even say the words, hey, you know, like I have to do this around the time that I am already spending, that I have to spend on my children, can even sound like a weakness, you know, can even sound to somebody else like you're less than because you are having to work around that schedule. Well, let's just find somebody that doesn't have to work around that schedule. And I think that's a terrible loss for schools that don't accommodate their especially at the level of a doctorate, let me tell you, because I'm not going for an undergrad degree right now. I am in school to get a doctorate level degree. Professionals are in this type of setting. And I realize I've just gone into this topic without giving you a complete ground for what it is I'm talking about, but just know that I've had to literally fight for my right to still continue to be a student while I am a breastfeeding mother of 2 under 2. So, if you're out there and you're experiencing this, know that you're not alone. Know that there is still room to fight. Know that you're not less than. Know that you should plow forward. And, I know that it's not all up to us, because unfortunately there are other powers that do stretch, make sure to flex their power as much as they absolutely can. But you and I, it is our job to flex our power as much as we can. Because at the end of the day, it's our lives and it's our children's lives. It's our livelihood, and we need to make sure that we're looking out for ourselves first and foremost. So keep up the good fight, mama. I think I've told you enough for today. So let's wrap it up right now. Thank you so much for being here with me today and watching this video. I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate your comments. If you are going through anything similar or something completely different than what I've just described today, please share it with me in the comment section below. I would love to start a conversation with you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.